Hi everyone, my name is Wilson Wong, and my topic today is sharing VR's experiences. So the overview of my presentation will be, the first slide will just be a quick overview about VR. Then I'll be going to a mixed reality, and I'll be talking about two demos of mixed reality. So what is VR? So VR stands for virtual reality. It's basically the use of computer technology to create an environment to allow the user to experience it in. And there's many ways of making this environment very immersive. One is using a head-mount display that would have the images being split and create a 3D effect for the user to experience. Next is having stereo sound, where you have actual sound being somewhat positioned for the user to experience, so they could tell where the sound's being located in, respective to themselves. And another way to have an immersive experience is using user inputs. So this is usually used through handheld controls to allow them to interact in the virtual space. So there's many different programs of doing VR. There's 3 of them right now, which are being used by many people, which is OpenGL, Unity, and Unreal Engine. And there's many different applications, so I just want to show 2 applications right now using VR. One is using to demo your floor plans if you're an architectural company. Next is using an application with VR is IBM Speech Sandbox. So we see here is that when a user says, I want a large gorilla, oh, large gorilla, or you can say a small gorilla, and then IBM Speech will detect that, and it'll create a game object because of what you said. So currently, the VR experience right now is basically one person just playing it, and there's only very limited ways. There's only very limited ways of sharing this experience. One way is through first-person perspective of see what they're doing. Another way of doing it is using a third-person's perspective, using an in-game camera. So, well, this is cool and all, but is there any way to make this even more immersive? And this brings into mixed reality. So mixed reality is bringing merging both the real and the virtual world together. So we see here how the user is inside the VR environment. So how's this being done? Well, there's 2 different ways. The first method is through video editing. So the most common way of using video editing is using open broadcast software, where you combine 3 different video feeds. First one is the game foreground or the virtual camera. Second is using the game's background. And third is using a real-life camera. So what you need to do is you both need to sync the virtual camera and the real-life camera together. So this can be done using a controller and attaching it to a camera, or doing it manually. And once you have the location of both the virtual and the real-life camera together, you need to make sure you set the field of view at this. They both have to have the same view, okay? So they capture the same information. Next, you basically transpose the game background behind the user and the game foreground in front of the user. And then you could, at the final end, you could just basically stream what you have, or you could just edit. So this is basically it. So you have the game's background on the 3rd quadrant, the game's foreground in the 1st quadrant, and you see in the OBS, you have all 3 layers being on top of each other. So in the demo right here, you see how using video editing, you could allow people to experience what the user experienced as well. So a second method of doing this is using Hololens and VR itself. So Drew recently published a video on YouTube of showing how he used both the HTC Vive and also the Hololens environment, and able to create a mixed reality between them. So he's able to show how the HTC Vive controller was able to draw a box, and he able to pick up using the HoloLens. So he's able to connect both these environments using the Unity built-in networking and matchmaking services. So this is Unity, and this is Unity 5.5. And we see here that there's a couple things that need to be set up for for the HoloLens users to use Unity and also for the VR user to use Unity. So one is that the transform position has to be set to 0, 0, 0. And the reason why is because both the HoloLens picks up both the position and also rotation already in this on this device. So you don't want to create an offset. So you want to set it to 0, 0. Next, you want to set clear flags to solid colors instead of sky view. And the reason why is because you don't want the user to pick up any background images. You just want everything to be transparent behind the game object you made. So the way you do this is you set the clear flags to solid color and the game's background to black. This will tell HoloLens that, hey, everything behind the game object will be clear. To make it transparent. Next is to change the clipping planes near to 0.5 or 0.8. And the reason why is because when a HoloLens user see an object, when they see very close to it, it might cause the object to be too close to the user and might cause a user to cross their eyes. And to alleviate this issue is to increase the clipping planes from to between 0.5 and 0.8. There's a couple things that we need to set for the VR camera system as well. We first need to create a play area for the VR to create their session in. And also we need the VR controllers to be detected as well in this environment as well. And in the play area, we have to also map it with different corners, in both real life and virtual life. So in his code, Drew, when you start a session, a matchmaking session, as a VR controller, as a VR user, you create a matchmaking service. And when you're using a HoloLens, you'll join that service. And then it'll prompt you to do alignment. So what it does, it will create for the HoloLens user to align their HTC Vive controller to a virtual controller they see themselves in the HoloLens. Once they find the virtual controller, they have to just click, and when they click, they'll tell both the position and also the rotation of that controller respective to the HoloLens user. From there, the alignment is complete, and then you'll have everything set up. So when you do creating a cube, the cube is created, and then the cube is sent from the HTC Vive to the server, and the server will pick up and send to everyone else that's joined the matchmaking to also render the cube as well. Oh, that's not working. Oh, that feels so bad. Okay, well, there's some potential limitations with this. The couple potential is to basically remove the VR headset because of the fact that you don't need it anymore. So you could just basically create all the application you want to do using the HoloLens itself. And next is collaboration. Since you could use, since two people could be working together, they could work on the same project. If you went in both HoloLens or HTC Vive. The limitation of this is that the offset. The offset is, while your calibration is okay, of just finding the virtual controller and clicking it, if you're off by a couple of degrees, the offset won't be too pronounced if the HTC Vive controller and also the HoloLens user are close together, but it'll be greater if the distance between them are greater. So the main takeaways for this is that while VR is a very fun and cool experience, it's important to find a way to share this experience with other people and experience this. And there's basically two different ways of showing this mixed reality. So yeah, that's my presentation. Thank you.